I've shared before that my Bible reading partner and I have been in the Old Testament. We're in the book of Exodus. And in the book of Exodus, we see the story of the people of Israel being led by Moses and Aaron out of Egypt after Pharaoh finally relented and let them go after the many plagues. And they are now have gone through the Red Sea, God causing the waters to part and leading them through the Red Sea, and then closing the waters over Pharaoh and the Egyptians who were in pursuit. And now they are out away from Egypt, but they very quickly begin to complain to Moses about kind of the accommodations. They're not happy with their lack of food. And so they begin to grumble, basically saying, it would be better if we were back in Egypt where we had food to eat. They very quickly forgot the fact that they were also enslaved and that their labors had become harder and harder. And so they're grumbling to Moses. And then God speaks to Moses, and this is what he says. Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a day's portion every day, that I may test them, whether or not they will walk in my instruction. On the 6th day, when they prepare what they bring in, it will be twice as much as they gather daily. So Moses and Aaron said to all the sons of Israel, at evening, you will know that the Lord has brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, for he hears your grumblings against the Lord. And what are we that you grumble against us? And then in chapter 16 of Exodus, dropping down to verse 17, the sons of Israel did so, and some gathered much, and some little. When they measured it with an omer, he who had gathered much had no excess, and he who had gathered little had no lack. Every man gathered as much as he should eat. Moses said to them, let no man leave any of it until morning. But they did not listen to Moses and left some part of it until morning. And it bred worms and became foul, and Moses was angry with them. They gathered it morning by morning, every man as much as he should eat. But when the sun grew hot, it would melt. And in this passage, God says why he is having the Israelites do this very precise measurement of what they should gather, and this very precise kind of prescription for how that should happen, that they should do it in the morning and that they will have enough for the day, but they shouldn't try to gather more. And he said that he's doing this in verse 4, that I may test them whether or not they will walk in my instruction. And we very quickly see that they decided they wouldn't walk in God's instruction. They decided that while it was great that God was providing for them, they had a better plan. And their better plan was, if a little is good, a lot is more. Why should I have to work 6 days of the week when I could gather enough for multiple days and not have to go out in the morning and do that work? But just as God said, the manna didn't last beyond the day on which it was given. And sometimes we look at the people of Israel and we think, how could they act like this? They had just seen God act on their behalf. They had just been rescued from Egypt. They had just seen the miracle of the parting of the Red Sea. How could they do that? But I think that we often are the same way. We read in the Bible God's instructions for living, and we think that's good, but if I put this twist on it of my own, that seems maybe better to me, then it will be even better. I have a better plan than God. And I think that's why the writer in Proverbs reminds us in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, that we're to trust in the Lord with all our heart and not lean on our own understanding. Not think that we know better, but rather in all our ways acknowledge him, trusting that he will direct our paths. God was plainly directing the path of the Israelites, but they decided to lean on their own understanding. They decided that they knew better. And they quickly found out that in this situation, as in life, God's ways are best. And we thrive when we follow what he tells us to do, even if it doesn't entirely make sense to us. So today I would encourage you to think about, is there an area in my life where I think my way is better than God's? And if that's the case, we need to repent. We need to turn, change our direction, come back to the way that the Lord wants us to live, knowing that his ways are always best.